What is going on, Raider Nation? It's your boy Smart, back at it again with another video. Today, I got a lot of things to talk about, as you guys seen in the video description, and I want to get to that point in just a little bit. But first, I want to talk about the Raiders situation right now. We sit at the number 2 pick, and there is a growing sense that the Raiders have already picked their guy out if their guy is available in the NFL draft. I think we all kind of know, but according to Raiders Insider from Sports Illustrated, my boy Honda Carpenter, he made a statement saying that all signs as of right now are pointing to Colorado's quarterback Shedeur Sanders. He also went on to say that I think that the general consensus in the NFL and everywhere else is if the Raiders can maneuver to get Shedeur, it is going to be Shedeur. I'm not yet ready to call that pick, but I think I'm as confident in a November pre-Thanksgiving pick as ever that that's going to be the guy they're going to go after. Of course, as the Raider Nation, it doesn't come as no surprise for us because we all know that the Raiders are really interested in quarterback Shedeur Sanders, and we know that Shedeur Sanders is really interested in coming over here to Las Vegas and playing for the Raiders. He's talked about it multiple times. I mean, he's even joked about it. Mark Davis has joked about it. We all joked about it, even saying whether or not, he actually tweets "Thank you, God" after the Raiders lose because he wants to come to the Raiders that badly. But like I said before, the Raiders do sit at the number 2 position right now, right behind the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I feel like the only team that poses a threat at possibly snatching up Shedeur Sanders right before us would be the New York Giants. We all know that they really do need a quarterback right now, especially after moving on from Daniel Jones. Of course, the Jacksonville Jaguars, we know, will most likely not go for a quarterback because they already got Trevor Lawrence as their franchise guy. Unless something crazy happens and they want to move on from Trevor Lawrence and go get Shedeur, then that would just throw the whole draft for a frenzy. But that aside, as of right now, if the Raiders stay at number 2 behind the Jacksonville Jaguars, then we most likely will be getting our guy, whether it's Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward. Now, I know there's a lot of fans that want to get Cam Ward, and I'm totally up for that. But I think everybody already knows in their heart of hearts that Shedeur Sanders in Las Vegas is just that perfect match. Whether you like it or not, I really think so. With that said though, Raider Nation, my real question though is, if the Raiders were to go out and draft their quarterback with the top pick in next year's draft, should the Raiders consider sitting down our rookie quarterback for a year under a veteran quarterback? For me, I believe they should, because I feel like that's what's best for a young quarterback coming into the NFL. Instead of just throwing him into the wolves, give him some time to kind of get used to the system, kind of get used to the NFL, and then when it's the right time for them to go out there and become that guy, then we make that move to let him go out there and do what he needs to do. But Tom Brady has talked about this subject intensely, and knowing that he's going to have a lot to say in the Raiders' future, especially at the quarterback position, who's to say that he won't make any of that decision for the Raiders?
To be coached, I had to learn from being 7th quarterback on the depth chart to moving up to 3rd to ultimately being a starter. I had to learn all those things in college. That was development. Then I went to New England and I was developed by Coach Belichick and the offensive staff there. I didn't start my first year. I think it's just a tragedy that we're forcing these rookies to play early. But the reality is the only reason why they are is because we dumbed the game down, which has allowed them to play. It used to be thought of at a higher level. We used to spend hours and hours in the offseason and training camp trying to be a little bit better than next year. But I think what happens is it discourages the coaches from going to deep levels because they realize the players don't have the opportunity to go to a deep level, so they're just going to teach them where they're at.
And I agree with him 100%. I feel like having him here and having him say that and that being his mindset, I really do feel like the Raiders will draft a top quarterback in this next draft, and there's a strong possibility that we could possibly sit him behind a veteran quarterback. Now, I know a lot of you guys are going to be like, no, hell no. There's no need to go out and get another Band-Aid at the quarterback position just to bring him in here and hope that he'll be good. Nah. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not thinking about going out and getting a quarterback because I kind of feel like after that Black Friday game, we could possibly have the quarterback on the roster right now that could start in 2025. And that guy being Aidan O'Connell.
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
Now, hear me out, though. I know a lot of you guys might be thinking, yo, some more Raiders kind of going cuckoo right now. I know that I haven't been the biggest AOC supporter, but ever since Scott and North Turner has taken over the offense, there is no surprise that this offense has looked much, much better than it ever has under Luke Getsy. And Aidan O'Connell's first game back since his injury, playing under the father and son duo, he looked really, really good. Throwing for over 300 yards and 2 touchdowns. Like I said before, instead of going out and trying to find another veteran quarterback to come in and hopefully do good, let's just keep the young quarterback and keep the same offense coordinator. And when the time is right though, that's when you go out and you start your future franchise quarterback. Now I know that it sounds crazy to draft a quarterback that high and not start him right away. But then again, you don't want to kill the kid's confidence right out the gate. For example, look at these young quarterbacks that came into the league with so much high expectation just for them to go out there and fail. You got guys like Bryce Young, you got guys like AR-15, Anthony Richardson with the Indianapolis Colts, you got guys like Sam Darnold at the beginning of his career, Josh Rosen when he got drafted to the Arizona Cardinals. There's a lot of examples out there of young quarterbacks coming into the league just for them to fail, especially when their confidence gets shot right out the gate. Then you compare that to the other quarterbacks that got to sit down and kind of take in the whole NFL experience and let the game come to them. And when the time was right, they came in and became great quarterbacks. You got Patrick Mahomes that got to sit behind Alex Smith for 1 season. You had Jordan Love sitting behind Aaron Rodgers. Then you have Aaron Rodgers sitting behind Brett Favre. The list goes on and on and on. There's so many examples of young quarterbacks that got to take some time to take in the NFL. And that's why I feel like for the Raiders, getting the guy in the first round, getting your quarterback, the last time we drafted a quarterback in the first round was Jamarcus Russell. And you guys seen what happened there. I don't feel like the Raiders are in no position to make that mistake yet again. If we go out and get the guy, whether it's Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward, I feel like the best thing for the Raiders is to let them sit behind a solid young quarterback like Aidan O'Connell. If he continues to play like he did on Black Friday and plays a great turnover-free game for the rest of the season, then I don't see no reason why the Raiders shouldn't make that decision to make Aidan O'Connell the starting quarterback for the Raiders in 2025 as a bridge quarterback. Because I feel like the more we go out and try to find the next guy in free agency, unless it's a big name, I don't think that the Raiders are going to succeed at all. If the Raiders want to break that curse and build a dynasty here, especially with a quarterback that could sit here for many years, then I feel like this is the right decision for the Raiders. And I feel like Aidan O'Connell is slowly becoming more and more confident in his game. He looked much better in this game than he did all season last year in his rookie season. Of course, it's because, you know, he had another year under his belt. And that kind of goes back to the question of whether or not AP should have started him at the beginning of the year. Because I honestly feel like AP kind of messed up by not starting AOC at the beginning of the season. Coming into the season, I wasn't a big AOC guy. I wasn't sold on him last season. And with Gardner Minshew coming over here, I like Gardner Minshew much better. But I still felt like with the rapport, with that chemistry that he built with this offense, with AP as the head coach, I felt like the right move was to have Aidan O'Connell come in and be that starter and see what we had in him early in the season. And if it didn't pan out, then that's when you throw Gardner Minshew in there. Then again, we had Luke Getsy as the offensive coordinator, so who knows how bad or good he could have looked. But right now, in this situation right now, like I said, it's only been 1 game since he's been back from injury that he's come out and balled out. This is the only game that he's played under Norv Turner and Scott Turner. But from what we've seen, especially playing against a Kansas City Chiefs team that is nearly undefeated, I felt like he was really poised in the pocket and he was able to make plays. Yes, there was some questionable plays that we can always complain about, but for the most part, I feel like the offense coordinators put Aidan O'Connell in a prime position to go out there and succeed. I say all that to say this. The Raiders right now have a young quarterback that we could keep on the roster moving forward. I don't know what we do with Gardner Minshew, but the Raiders going into the offseason is going to be a big offseason for us, whether we get the number 1 pick, the number 2 pick, 3 pick, 4 pick, 5 pick. If the Raiders do end up drafting their guy in the first round next year, I do believe that the Raiders' best move is to bring in AOC and start him in the 2025 season. But hey, if AOC goes out there and shits the bed the rest of the season, then forget everything that I said in this video. I hope he could keep that streak going, whether we win games or not. If the offense looks just as good as they did, then I feel like we should be okay with having AOC as that bridge quarterback. But Raider Nation, I want to ask you guys, what do you guys feel about this whole take about possibly having Aidan O'Connell be the starting quarterback for the Raiders in 2025? Am I crazy? Should we just start whoever we draft because, you know what, we spent a lot to get that guy? Or should we give him some time to grow and get used to the system as well as the NFL and possibly set up the next quarterback of the future for a great career in the silver and black? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Until the next video, this your boy Samoa Raider and your boys. Yeah.